regular school board meeting, and we'll ask Mrs. Everby to do the roll call.
Mr. Harper?
Here.
Dr. DeVault?
Here.
Ms. Flanagan? Ms. Maddox?
Here.
Mr. Milner?
Here.
Mr. Dr. Standby?
Here.
And Mr. Sayer?
Here.
The board has been presented with the agenda for the meeting several days in advance, and at this time we'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to welcome all the visitors. This is a large crowd for us, and we're always excited when we have young people here. This is a very special time for us when we get an opportunity to meet some of the champions of our group. So we're delighted to have all of you, and your support is here with us tonight. At this time, I'd like to ask Reverend Alford to do the invocation, and Dr. Standall, please do the pledge.
Let us pray. Oh God, our Heavenly Father, we come here this evening to be about the work of this school system. Bless each and every student, each and every teacher, each and every administrator. Father, guide them in the principles of truth and right. And may we, O Lord, look to Thee for our source. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening we have one speaker from the floor, and that is Dr. Dorothy Carter, the president of the Henry County Education Association.
Thank you, Mrs. Maddox. I'm Dorothy Carter from the Reed Creek District, and I'm here representing Henry County Education Association. We are continuing to make sure that the needs of Henry County Public School students and teachers are met. We even met today, along with representatives of Martinsville Education Association, one day into our summer break, to strategically plan for the upcoming year. Dr. Cotton stopped in, spoke with us for a few minutes. We appreciated that. When he left, we reflected on what we've done as an association. We dreamed about what we want to do, and then we planned how to make those dreams come true. In April, Dr. Cotton was kind enough to let 4 of us attend an NEA event to help us learn how to get more feedback from our colleagues and our community. Because we know that when we find common goals for our public schools and then educate people about what we need to make those goals, then we'll be more able to provide what every child needs in Henry County. Our hearts are willing, but the resources aren't always available. We're aware that our school board members face the same stumbling blocks as you too strive to make Henry County Public Schools the best that they can be. We're committed to having the resources we need for every child. We're committed to the success of every child, and we're committed to the success of our community, Henry County and Martinsville City. Yesterday, some of us attended Ed Camp, and I only attended one session. But as soon as I read the topic, Journey into Dyslexia, I knew I needed to be at that event. Workshop facilitator Darlene McNeil presented a film called Journey into Dyslexia. This workshop may have been the most important workshop I have ever attended. I was a few minutes late, and within 10 minutes I had to leave, because frankly I was blinking back in tears as I listened to the facts and the heartbreaks that dyslexics feel every single day. They are heartbreaks with which I'm familiar because I come from a family where dyslexia is inherited. As a teacher, I realized what I already knew. We're not adequately meeting the needs of those students. So I ran out, quick trip to the bathroom, some Kleenex, and some self-talk about keeping the emotions in check, and I went back and stayed till the end. Did you know that 20% of our students suffer from dyslexia? That is 4 out of every 20. Did you know that those students struggle not only with reading, but with organizational skills, planning and prioritizing, keeping time and concentrating with background noise? And did you know that in spite of those issues, or maybe because of them, they may excel at connecting ideas, thinking out of the box, 3D thinking, and seeing the big picture? And finally, did you know that 35% of the entrepreneurs in our nation have dyslexia? And that's the fact that really hit home to me. Those are the people that Henry County needs to produce businesses. These are the people that we need. And yet these are the students that we struggle to reach, and we too often discourage these kids in ways that we teach them. And while dyslexia is not connected to IQ, we still owe it to every single child to educate them so that they can achieve their dreams. And this is just one example of what our students need. By early fall, HCEA plans to present a list of our school's needs and desires as perceived by teachers, students, and community members. We want to engage in serious discussion with how those objectives will be met, because it's our goal as HCEA members in collaboration with MEA members to help build the best public schools for our community.
Thank you, Ms. Carr. The next section of our agenda deals with our awards and recognition. Ms. Patrick, I believe, has several to present tonight.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Madam Chairman and members of the board. Evening meetings are a fun time for us because we are able to invite students to be recognized, and tonight we have several groups to come before you for your accolade. The first student that will come before you is going to be introduced by her instructor, Mr. Champ Hardy.
Chairperson, distinguished members of the school board, Dr. Cotton, and guests, and anyone in attendance tonight. It is a pleasure for us to present the FFA Creed to you tonight. And here in a few minutes, I would like to say a few words first, but here in a few minutes, Michaela, and she will do a fantastic job. She will present the FFA Creed to you, and she will answer some questions also. You know, over the past 40 years, I have attended many conferences, many meetings, and many activities through the FFA and so on. I have went to many of the school divisions in the state of Virginia. Out of the 134 school divisions that we have, I have always came back to Henry County and said, I'm glad that I work with the Henry County school system. I think we are one of the best in the state as far as I'm concerned. Dr. Cotton and his staff, and all the way down to the individual schools, we have one goal in mind. We have a major goal in mind. That is the success of our students. Not now, not just now, but also in the future. I'd like to thank the school board for your support of the FFA and agriculture education over the last many, many years, and we appreciate that a great deal. But the most important thing, we have some amazing and awesome students in Henry County, and I think you will see one of those tonight. Now, let me get to the reason that I am here tonight, that we are here tonight. As you know, we have two very strong FFA chapters in Henry County, Magna Vista and Laurel Park Middle. I do not think there's a single school division in the state of Virginia that has stronger FFA chapters than we do. The FFA was founded in 1928 on the principle and the concept of leadership. As you know, we have many contests and competitions in the FFA. Public speaking is one of the leadership skills that we stress. If you will look in your folder, you will find the FFA Creed. We have an FFA Creed speaking contest for our FFA chapter each year. The young lady I have beside me placed first in our chapter contest. One of the most difficult parts of the FFA Creed speaking contest is answering questions. After she recites the creed tonight, Dr. Duvall, if you will ask her the question that I have in your folder, she will answer it to the best of her ability. And Mr. Milner, if you will answer the question I have in your folder, she will answer it to the best of her ability. Let me tell you just a little bit about Michaela. She is an upcoming 8th grade student at Laurel Park. She is a wonderful student. Behavior is excellent. She is very talented as far as singing. We had a PTO talent show a few weeks ago, and she did super in that. She would like to, in the future, she would like to have a career as far as entertainment. I cannot sit down tonight without saying this. I want to recognize her parents, Anita and Roger Grider, because they had really supported Michaela this year, and we really do appreciate that. Now at this time, it is my pleasure to give to you Michaela Grider reciting the FFA Creed. Let me have a seat.
The FFA Creed by E.M. Tiffany. I believe in the future of agriculture with a faith born not of words but of deeds. Achievements won by the present and past generations of agriculturalists. In the promise of better days through better ways. Even as the better things we now enjoy have come to us from the struggles of former years. I believe that to live and work on a good farm or to be engaged in other agricultural pursuits is pleasant as well as challenging, for I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life and hold an inborn fondness for those associations which, even in hours of discouragement, I cannot deny. I believe in leadership from ourselves and respect from others. I believe in my own ability to work efficiently and think clearly with such knowledge and skill as I can secure, and in the ability of progressive agriculturalists to serve our own in the public interest in producing and marketing the product of our toil. I believe in less dependence on begging and more power in bargaining, in the life abundant and enough honest wealth to help make it so for others as well as myself, in less need for charity and more of it when needed, in being happy myself and playing square with those whose happiness depends upon me. I believe that American agriculture can and will hold true to the best traditions of our national life, and that I can exert and influence in my home and community, which will stand solid for my part in that inspiring task. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Well, I am impressed. Many, many years ago, more than I like to admit, I was a member of FFA, and I can assure you, I never memorized the creed. And I couldn't read it nearly as powerful as you did. Congratulations, that was great.
Thank you.
My question is, paragraph number 2 of the FFA Creed states that I know the joys and discomforts of agricultural life, would you please tell us what are two joys and discomforts of agricultural life, and why is each so to you?
There are many joys and discomforts of agricultural life. One discomfort is about 10 years ago, an Amish boy from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, was feeding corn stalks to a corn stalk grinder. A corn stalk grinder is a machine that he feeds corn stalks to, and it puts them into bits, and the extras go to animals for the winter time. Unfortunately, the Amish boy got too close to the machine, and it pulled in his upper body and his skull, and he was immediately rushed to the hospital, but not before he had scars that would scar him a lifetime. Another discomfort is that each year many crops are millions of dollars of crops are destroyed due to various weather conditions such as hailstorms, tornadoes, thunderstorms, and etc. And not only do the farmers lose a lot of money, but also the customers cannot buy the crops, which that means they cannot feed themselves and their children. I personally believe that the joys outweigh the discomforts. One joy is that when knowing the fact that you are raising an animal from a baby to a full-grown adult just gives you the happiness inside, and that you fed it and nursed it and watched it grow as you went. It just gives you an inner pleasure that's impossible to describe. Another joy is knowing that you're feeding the majority of the entire world, the people that are starving. About every 5 seconds, a child dies of starvation somewhere in this world. And to know that maybe one day that our farming can help prevent starvation just gives you the happiness inside to keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Well done.
Hopefully my question won't be as hard. Near the final paragraph of the FFA Creed, it encourages FFA members and chaplains to exert an influence in my home and community. What are some ways that you and Lord Park Middle FFA chapter can exert an influence in our community?
There are many ways that my FFA chapter can help our home and community. Here are some of the ways that I think that my FFA chapter and some things that we can do to help our home and community. One is that our FFA chapter each year, we make blankets and send them to the Grace Network. The Grace Network then distributes them to hospitals that are in need of blankets and things that we can provide them. Another thing that we do is, of course, Valentine's Day falls in the month of February, and our FFA chapter gathers and makes cards for the veterans that have fought for our country. We send those cards to Salem's Veteran Hospital and give them to the veterans that are in there. And I think it is really important that we recognize and give those cards to them so they can feel appreciated for the work that they've done for us. Another thing is our FFA chapter has the Mount Olivet Elementary preschool students to come to our school and to learn about agriculture. We set up stations, and our FFA chapter members read books to them. As they read the books and go through station to station, it looks like their smiles get brighter and their eyes get hungrier for more, and they want to learn more and more about agriculture. They also bring a fire truck from a local fire department, and they let the students maybe get up into it or just let them talk to them and learn about how to use one for fire safety. Another thing that we do is we have an Earth Day program at the Museum of Natural History. We have elementary schools, local elementary school students. They come to our school to the museum, and we teach them and have different workshops that they can go to learn about Earth Day and what its importance is. Another thing that I think is a good thing for our FFA chapter to do is we go to nursing homes and sing Christmas carols around Christmas time. I think it's really important for being a good singer myself, I think, for going there and singing in front of elderlies because some of their families don't come and visit them as often as they should, and to see children and different people coming there and singing to them must put a smile on their face and put joy throughout their day. I go through and drive through the roads sometimes, and I see trash on the side of the roads, and I think it looks really ugly and disturbing, and I think that our FFA chapter, and we will go out there and pick up the trash off the sides of the roads and make our environment a better place. I'd like to thank the school board for allowing me to come and recite the FFA creed to you, and I'd also like to recognize my teacher, Mr. Hardy, and Mrs. Kazar, who is not here tonight, but Mr. Hardy the most, because he helped me get through this and he pushed me through, even though sometimes I didn't feel like going over, he still made me do it. And I just enjoy that he gave me this opportunity to come and say this in front of you guys, and thank you.
Let me say something real quickly. I think seeing Michaela here tonight is an example of the young kids that are going through Mr. Champ Hardy's program. Mr. Hardy is retiring this year. I hate to say that. I wish we could hang on to it because he has been such a great influence, and that certainly is personified by Michaela's actions here tonight. And I want to say a special thanks to Champ Hardy for what he has done with us.
As I tell you about award number 2, I'd like to ask Renee Scott to come forward. As you know, Rich Acres Elementary School is one of our prides in the county. Among our 10 elementary schools, we are so very proud of each of them. Rich Acres has been honored this year by being selected to receive the 2016 Virginia Index of Performance Board of Education Distinguished Achievement Award. And they have received a certificate from Dr. Stephen Staples in the Department of Education. So we would like to present that to Ms. Scott tonight and have her photo taken with Dr. Cotton and Mr. Milner, who is going to fill in for Ms. Maddox this evening for photos. Next, we are recognizing 3 of our teachers. As you know, we encourage teachers to undergo rigorous recertification processes, to take courses, and to do things to enhance their own professional learning so that they can transfer that learning to our students. Tonight, we would like to recognize 3 of our teachers who have earned National Board certification this year. So when I call your name, if you'll please come forward. Our first honoree is Mr. Scott Gardner. Mr. Gardner teaches at Laurel Park.
He lives across the street from me and graduated with my son. Don't go any further than that.
Our next honoree this evening is Bassett High School's Laura Jones. And last last in this distinguished group, but certainly not least, is Stanleytown Elementary's Kim Draper. I'm going to ask you to let me hold that for just a moment.
Okay.
Before you go anywhere, I'm going to embarrass her a little bit more here. I did want to announce that Kim Draper is going to be serving and representing Henry County as our Teacher of the Year. I always make the statement, if the Teacher of the Year cannot fulfill their obligations, our first runner-up, who's Kim Draper, will be filling that role. And let me tell you, what a fine educator to fill that role for us. And I wanted to make this evening special by surprising her with some flowers. So let's give her a hand.
You'll be there for a while, Mr. Miller. The next group that we want to recognize is Magna Vista High School's ROTC Raider team. As you know, from the last time they were here with you, they talked about the fact that they would be participating in an Eastern Seaboard region competition called the Best of the Best. Not only did they work hard and host that event and earn the rights to host it again in the future because they did such a great job, they also placed third out of a very wide field of competitors. So tonight we'd like to ask them to come forward and be recognized by the board and stay for a picture. Members of the Raider team include Jordan Ramsey, Logan Ramsey, Aaron Colonnese, Travis Matthews, Victor Cabrera, Saul Valesquez, Billy Smith, Brandon Gilly, Dustin Riggins, and Santiago Perez. They're accompanied tonight by their instructor, Sergeant First Class Turini.
Cover up later. Good job.
I just want to take a couple seconds to thank the school board members for recognizing these guys, because they did work hard. It isn't like one sport where they work 4 months out of the year and then they're done. They work, matter of fact, they'll start in the summertime and they'll work all the way through. The season is all year long. It doesn't end. And then they have, since we did finish third in the East Coast, we are invited to the Nationals next year also in November. So that's something, another accolade that they get, which is paid for by the Army, which is a good thing. So they ain't got to dish out no money. So again, I'd just like to thank you guys for recognizing them and for recognizing the fine job they've done all year. All right, thank you.
Your work, not just this year, but for the past few years, we've seen the same type of honor for these kids. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
We are also very pleased tonight to have a special group of young ladies to come before you. As you know, the Magna Vista girls basketball team played a very hard-fought battle and performed quite well. And we would like to recognize them tonight for their Virginia High School League semifinals performance. And the members of the team include Tasha DeShazo, Shania DeShazo, Mariah Harrison, Mackenzie Carter, Takia Bradley, Kayla Cabanis, Asia Moyer, and then some of the members of their team couldn't be here this evening because they're traveling. Ocean Adams, and I think her grown-up is here tonight to represent her, Kelsey Moyer, and Sadaria Bradley. And they're accompanied tonight by their coach, Vicki Hayes.
They can even be a singing group. I can speak from experience. They're very talented. They sing. Yeah. Okay.
These girls are all back, so we'll look to see them again here.
That's right. That's right. High expectations.
It'll be a repeat.
And the last group of students that we want to recognize tonight is not from one school or the other. They actually represent both of our high schools, which is exciting for us. As you know, for several years, Piedmont Governor School has hosted a robotics team, and our students participate in that team in the after-school hours. They actually devote a great deal of time to meeting a challenge that's extended to them, and they only have 6 weeks to do it. This year, in addition to that competition, which usually occurs once, they competed twice on a local level and then went to nationals and placed 12th. So tonight we want to recognize the students from Team 1262 for their national accomplishment at First Robotics Competition. And members of their team include Lane Ashworth, Nicholas Turner, Bev Sechrist, Adam Wilson, Caleb Dillard, Tanner Joyce, Jaden Penn, Christian Keeler, and Kadeem Mbaki. And they are accompanied tonight by their coaches and mentors.
So I'm going to stand down here.
Case, you want to do the picture? That's the word Greek tonight.
Thank you. We're going to take a seat. And the last recognition I want to share with you this evening is one that one of these ladies said they went behind each other's backs to go about. As you know, Marcy Lexa and Jackie Edwards are very busy ladies in our school nutrition department, and they do an excellent job of making sure that our students have everything they need. And even this summer, they are working extra hard, not just to feed students at feeding sites, but they have developed a program where we will have people delivering food to neighborhoods, which is really exciting because we know that students don't just have to come to us, but now we're going to them with good hot lunches in the summer. Marcy Lexa was nominated for School Nutrition Association Director of the Year, and this award recognizes school nutrition directors for the Keys of Excellence program that the National School Nutrition Association puts forth, and that includes operations, nutrition, nutrition education and physical activity, administration, marketing, and communications. And Jackie Edwards was nominated and awarded National School Nutrition Association Administrator of the Year. This award is presented to a supervisory level person who meets these criteria. They have to be employed in school nutrition for at least 5 years, active members in the School Nutrition Association of Virginia and local chapters if available, has to be certified or credentialed by the School Nutrition Association, and that person also has to demonstrate leadership in the field of marketing, nutrition education, finance, and or human resources. So we would like to honor these ladies for the awards that they nominated and won for one another.
Okay.
The next section of our agenda deals with informational items, and the first one is Energy Conservation Program Update. We get this every year from Mr.
Thank you, Ms. Maddox. Ms. Maddox, members of the school board, Dr. Cotton, I'm very pleased to be back here sharing our annual energy conservation report. We have now completed the 6th year of our program. Our energy program goal has remained the same, with our main focus of the program to save money for the classroom. As you can see, our objectives align with Goal 3 of the Envision 2018 Strategies Plan, Safe and Orderly Learning Environment. I decided to give my presentation a theme, the snowball effect. Remember as a kid when we would make a snowball and then roll it down a hill, how a little at a time it would get bigger and bigger? That is how our energy program has evolved. Thinking back to 2009, when we began our energy program, the snowball you could hold in your hand, we began to make a change. We implemented the program division-wide, making a choice to embrace the challenge to change the way we do things. It was time to make a behavior change. We started requiring work orders for after-school programs, turning off lights, unplugging appliances, tracking utilities, and making day-to-day changes in the normal way we do things. Because we realized that the most of our energy use was from our heating and cooling systems, we began tightening our heating and cooling schedules and checking our boilers and chiller lockout settings. These behavior changes made it possible to attain the most efficient program of our systems. We paid close attention to the maintenance and care of the equipment, changing filters, belts, hoses. We took them out of hand mode and made sure the auto switch was working properly. We made sure when we had a schedule in the system, the equipment was running. And we was there when there was no schedule, we made sure the equipment was off. We walked the building early in the morning, late in the evenings, during the school days, holidays, weekends, 24/7. We listened, we looked, we even wondered. We asked questions, why, when, how, what. We called synergists, and they flew in.
We changed schedules. We changed set points and many other things. We researched. Sometimes we even argued with each other. But we knew we had a common goal, and that was to make Henry County Public School buildings the most efficient they could be. We noticed our snowball was beginning to get larger. We verified this with the Energy Cap program. We were seeing 20% savings, and then it continued to grow more and more. Here's an example. At Bassett High School, as you can see, our cost avoidance saving has grown to over 28%. As our snowball grew, we started to get noticed. All K-12 schools received Energy Star recognition for the 4th year in a row. Energy Star is a nationally recognized resource for validating the impact of our energy program. Our schools partner with Energy Star and has been recognized through their Leader in Building certification programs. All schools were again awarded Energy Star Partner for 2015. As the snowball just kept rolling, we received recognition from the U.S. Department of Education, the Virginia School Board Association, and the Environmental Protection Agency. With the savings, we were able to start updating the high efficiency boilers, pumps, and water heaters. We were able to change to high efficiency lighting in some schools and even provide help in funding for Warrior Academy. Our energy program's next project is Bingo Tech, providing $150,000 out of our utility budget to help balance the construction budget. So you see, we are all part of this. Every time you reach up to turn off the light, you are making a conscious effort to educate our children. We, as a team, it's no telling how big this snowball can get, to save for the education of our students. Let me show you what our snowball is made of. The main reason I'm here today is to share with you how the program has performed. As you can see, the program you decided over 6 years ago to invest in has produced results with cost avoidance savings over $3.5 million. Not only is the snowball made up of cost avoidance savings, but it has also had a substantial impact on our environmental savings. As you can see, our program has played a substantial role in reducing the carbon footprint for the division. We've reduced our greenhouse gases by 14,000 metric tons, and our program performance is equivalent to removing 2,900 cars from the road. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Just to kind of follow up with what Mr. Atkins just talked about a little bit, I'm excited to be able to share with you, as he mentioned, that all of our schools, K through 12 schools, have received for the 4th year in a row the Energy Star Certification Award. And that's a success shown by our energy program, of course. And that's this program is a joint effort between the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency and the U.S. Department of Energy. To earn this Energy Star certification, the school buildings must rate in the top 25% nationwide for energy efficiency. And they must also be verified by a professional engineer who provides this service. Synergistics provides this service free of charge for us because we still have that relationship and that contract with Synergistics. So they'll come in and they walk every building to verify the data that Mr. Atkins entered into the system so that we can receive these awards. So what I'd ask is that if your school's represented this evening, as I call your school's name, if you could come up, we have a plaque for you. Maybe we could gather up here with a picture. And Dr. Cotton and Mr. Miller, if you could join us, and Mr. Atkins as he hands out the plaque. So Paxton Elementary School. Bassett High School. Campbell Court Elementary. Collinsville Primary. Drury Mason Elementary. Philadelphia Collinsville Middle School. George Washington Carver Elementary. John Red Smith. Laurel Park Middle School. Magna Vista High School. Mount Olivet Elementary. Rich Acres Elementary. Anvil Elementary. And last but certainly not least, Downtown.
Chair.
Yeah. Okay, everybody, ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you all. You're welcome to stay, but you're certainly welcome to head up. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. Just wanted to share just a couple of items while we were thinking about it. As you know, the rebid documents are back out on the street. We actually had our pre-bid meeting this morning, and we saw about 7 general contractors, 7 large general contractors show up for this pre-bid meeting. So hoping that's a good news, good sign that we would have some good competition as this bid is going through. And as I remind you, it's due back on June 22nd is when we'll receive the bids back. Also a bit of good news, with Tim Pace working with VDOT, there's some work with the resolution that VDOT's working on a revenue sharing project. So some of the right-of-way improvements that we'll see from Meadowview will actually be reimbursed back as part of our project. So we'll see some savings thanks to the county working with VDOT on this revenue sharing piece on it. So that'll help us as well as we move forward with this project. And then the last piece that wasn't listed here is AEP, as I mentioned to you, is starting to relocate their poles. They have identified the new pole location. We'll see some grubbing, and you should see those, if weather holds out, of course, you'll see those relocated at least by our next board. So I just want to see if they have any questions on Meadowview at this point.
So with the VDOT, that's the turn lanes, straighten of the curve.
Yes, sir. Everything right there in the 108 area, that's going to be the deceleration lanes and what have you, the turning lanes. All of that will be a part of it. It'll be a reimbursement, our revenue sharing as part of the project. So we're excited about that.
With the 7, did you say 7 bidders at the?
There were 7 general contractors listed on the pre-bid meeting
So
today.
the same people that bid the first time?
Yes, sir, it was. There was one change different. We had one new general contractor, but we also lost one this time too, so it evened out about the same amount of people. Questions? All right, thank you.
Any other questions of Mr. Scott? The next section of the agenda is the consent agenda, and if you have reviewed your agenda, you know there are a lot of items in this particular section. If there are any of these that you would like to pull out and discuss or ask questions about, please feel free to do so.
Madam Chair, the majority of these are annual. Bringing forward anything that has a change attached to it, we pull out for discussion. All of these are consistent with what we've done in the past.
Madam Chairman, I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the items listed in the consent agenda. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Then we will move into the action agenda, and the first item there is Mr. Bullen's a review of some of the updates to our policies.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Ms. Maddox and members of the board. Proposed policy revisions reflect efforts to bring policies into compliance with new or existing laws and regulations or have been revised for editorial reasons. The revisions are provided in a format showing each change made to the policies. Revisions have been verified for legality by the Virginia School Boards Association or by legal counsel, and the policies can be found on board docs under the featured tab, Policies Under Consideration. The policy revisions are being presented to you tonight for approval on second reading.
Madam Chairman, I move we approve. We discussed these, I think it was last month, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the changes to the policies as presented. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Okay, thank you.
The next item is the approval of our Code of Student Conduct for the coming school year. Ms. Scott?
Good evening, Madam Chairman, members of the board. What you have in front of you is the revised Henry County Public Schools Code of Conduct. This is a second reading. It was presented to you at last board meeting, and so I'm submitting it to you for approval. There was a group of individuals that worked on this collectively, and it was submitted to all principals to review and insert comments and ideas and suggestions versus through Google Docs, but we chose to go with one this year versus two. In the past several years, we have had a K-2 Code of Conduct and a grade 3 through 12, and this year there will just be one student Code of Conduct, and it will be available digitally, so they'll have significant cost savings, but we will have available to print some if we need to for those who do not have access to the internet, and is currently being in the process of being translated for Spanish at this time. So I send it to you for second reading.
Questions, Ms. Scott?
Move approval of the Code of Conduct as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the Code of Student Conduct for 2016-17 as presented. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Mr. Bullens, appropriation request.
Yes, ma'am. Insurance reimbursements have been received for claims related to a bus incident and damage to property from high winds totaling $30,534.67. Once we have completed repairs and submitted invoices on the wind damage at Bassett High School, an additional $12,241.61 will be received from the insurance company. And that comes to a total of $42,776.28. It is recommended that the school board approve an additional appropriation of $42,776.41 forward an appropriation request to the Board of Supervisors.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded to approve the request as presented by Mr. Bullins. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Mr. Mullins, can I just ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Did that include, and have we looked at, because this was a light pole when stadium lighting at Bassett, was there inspection of others, and was there work that was needed to be done on the ones that didn't blow over, just because they would potentially be at the same risk?
Yeah, I think I'm correct, and Mr. Scott can help me if I'm wrong, but the other poles were inspected, and they were found to be in good shape.
And I understand we have the same concern, and I also wanted to point out that in this particular case, we moved early on this because of that safety factor. We were certainly hopeful that we would get official approval, but we had that same concern. We had to check the others because we don't want another one to fall, especially when people were out there for events.
Thank you.
Okay.
This pole seems to have some sequence to, we don't wait till one falls down.
No, obviously we're gonna have to have a process in place to check them periodically just to make sure that we are safe, but obviously that was a surprise.
That was a surprise, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
And the next item on the agenda is the adoption of the 2017 school budget.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, the total county budget, including the school systems funding, was appropriated on May 24th, 2016 by the Board of Supervisors. And what we do each year is we need to officially adopt the budget for the school division. It's recommended that the school board adopt the FY 2017 operating budget total. The amounts listed in your packet there, as well as the textbook budget and the school nutrition program budget, and all of those categories are listed in on the fact sheet for you. So I would propose, I recommend the board officially approve the budget.
Move approval of the 2017 budget as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there questions for Dr. Cotton prior to the vote?
We had to lower just a little bit because of the state funds that we estimated it at the time.
Yeah, we estimated when we checked everything, when it was all finalized, that we're about 80 to 85,000 less than we were anticipating. But also remember that we have a very conservative estimate for enrollment. We're anticipating our enrollment will be higher than we projected. We always are conservative on that. So what we'll do is we'll see what our enrollment looks like. We may have to find that $85,000, but if our enrollment is higher than we expect, then that should certainly cover that shortfall.
Thank you.
Sure.
Are there other questions? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Dr. Cotton, again, authorization of signature in absence of superintendent in 2017.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Virginia Department of Ed requires annual action by the school board to authorize someone to sign official documents in the absence of the superintendent. The VDOE will be notified of such board action. The authorized signatures will be on file as prerequisites to processing reimbursements and other financial correspondence. I'm recommending that Sandy Strader, our Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning, serve in this capacity, and ask that you approve her as an authorized designee to sign all Virginia Department of Education correspondence, reports, documents, requisitions, and other official correspondence in my absence for the period of July 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2017.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded for Mrs. Strader to be the authorized signature in the absence of the superintendent. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you.
As a graduate of Henry County Public Schools, we can ascertain that Ms. Strader can write the magic.
Okay, Sandy.
Since you can spend money on it.
Chairman, and members of the board. Tonight I am here to request the approval of the Title I Part A grant. As you know, the Title I funds are used to support the instructional program in our elementary schools. All 10 of our elementary schools do qualify currently, and we anticipate that all 10 will qualify for the next school year as well to receive this funding. I do want to remind you that these funds must be used to supplement, not supplant, instruction in the elementary schools, and by that I mean that the items or the personnel that we use these funds to pay cannot be items that we purchased in the secondary schools. So we do plan to use the Title I funds to support the things that we've been doing in the past, including our instructional coaches, our reading specialists, our reading instructional assistants, the materials and supplies that our elementary principals request that we do not fund in our secondary schools. Therefore, these are allowable expenditures. And you will see there's a list of some of those materials and supplies in front of you, including level readers for the classroom, reading A to Z, Daily 5 training, and a Words Their Way course that we want to re-implement through University of Virginia to work on our phonics instruction. Additionally, you will see, if you look at the funds, we have added in possible math specialists, because as you know, we turn this grant in now, because it's due to the state in June, but we will not receive the amount of the grant until the end of September, early October, nor will we receive that approval of the grant until that time. So, of course, we would spend all of next year talking about how we would spend these funds. What we're doing is we're anticipating additional funding due to Ms. Lexa's hard work and her department's hard work in getting all of our schools the free breakfast and the free lunch. Because of that, more students have been identified as free and reduced lunch, and therefore we anticipate around a $600,000 increase in our Title I funding, which is a good thing because we're going to get additional funds with Title I. However, you know, we all know we're saddened by the fact that our free and reduced lunch rate is so high in the area. But if we do get those funds, we must purchase things or pay personnel that we do not provide in our secondary schools. So one of our ideas that we have toyed with is what do we need, and currently we're thinking possibly math specialists. We're also trying to think of ways to increase literacy, and if we can think of things that we can use the money for in our literacy area that are not things that we buy in the middle and high school, we would indeed ask the board for that approval. We would come back to the board in the fall for any kind of additional approval. But right now, if we receive the $3,143,388, we are requesting you to approve the grant for this much money for this right now to send to the State Department. And we will revisit that if we do indeed decide to add additional personnel.
Just for clarification, we wouldn't be adding math specialists for this upcoming school year. It would be the following, because obviously the folks that we would hire would be existing teachers, and we wouldn't pull teachers out of classroom in the middle of the year.
Do you have any questions?
Funds as presented by Mrs. Strayer. Are there questions for her? If not, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you. Mrs. Durham, the contract with UVA for teacher workshop.
Good evening, Madam Chairman and members of the board. The 4-day Academy for Teachers of Struggling Readers offered by the University of Virginia's Curry School of Education is designed for teachers who have students in their classroom that are not able to read grade-level material. Topics include an overview of literacy development, reading disability and response to intervention, phonological awareness, phonics, and teaching word identification skills, using informal assessments to guide instruction, strategies to increase fluency, vocabulary, comprehension, and how writing fits into the literacy curriculum. Each participant in the workshop will receive a notebook with learning materials and all interactive activities for the 4-day workshop and 2 professional books that will be used during instruction.
Teachers will receive recertification points. We're asking that we have 2 academies that will be held during the 2016 fall semester, one for Laurel Park Middle School teachers and one for Fieldale Collinsville School teachers. It's about 25 to 30 teachers will be able to participate in each academy. It's estimated to cost about $37,500 out of the FY 2017 budget, the instruction purchase services budget, and it is recommended that the board approve the contract with the University of Virginia to offer the Academy for Teachers of Struggling Readers to the teachers at Laurel Park and FC Middle Schools. Any questions?
Madam Chair, members of the board, I also want to point out that you're going to see us working heavily on increasing literacy across the board, especially in elementary and middle schools. We know that literacy is the key to future success, and we've been monitoring our student reading levels, and we've been reporting that as part of our strategic plan, and it's not where it needs to be. It needs to be higher. Actually, our goal is 100%.
Absolutely.
So we've got work to do, and you're going to hear us talking a lot about not only reading, but a great deal about writing as well. All of those tie into literacy. We know if a student's not reading on grade level, then that determines their future. And we cannot have students going to middle school not reading on grade level, or graduating from our schools without reading on grade level. So you're going to hear a lot about our focus on literacy as we continue to move forward.
Is this going to involve SOL teachers that are teaching SOL?
Yes, sir. We'll definitely target our English teachers in this school, and then it also involves our content teachers so that they too can help with the literacy in their content areas. So it's going to be a whole school movement in both schools.
How do you choose the teachers that participate in these?
We definitely will choose our content teachers first. English teachers first priority, content teachers, special ed teachers will attend, ELL. We'll work with the principal to choose what teachers, but for sure our English teachers will be first priority.
Now, Mrs. Carter appreciates that, right?
Getting them ready for her at Magna Vista. That's right.
They will volunteer for this, or they won't be told you got to do it. I mean, they'll have an option to participate.
Well, it's occurring on their teacher work days too, so it's not like they're being pulled from classrooms, so it'll be a whole school initiative and effort at their school that they'll all be participating in that.
To answer that question, no. It will be mandatory, because we feel very strongly that all teachers need to be promoting literacy regardless of what they teach. But the difference would be how many we can get in the first round, but
it's a limited. Well, we think they're going to be very excited about it because this is something that our teachers need and they want. They've asked for these supports. They want to.
And our teachers, our teachers they go above and beyond each and every day. So we don't foresee that being an issue for any of our teachers. So let me clarify.
I mean, they are receiving recertification points,
yes,
so that the teachers are happy about that.
And it's UVA.
Madam Chairman, I move we approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the contract with the University of Virginia for teacher workshop. All in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have several items from the technology arena.
Good evening. The school division established a 5-year sustainability plan to ensure that all iPads and computers are on a 4-year lease renewal program. With this program, devices are replaced every 4 years so students and staff have up-to-date technology. It is recommended that the board approve the first year of a 4-year lease with Apple for 570 iPads for 6th grade and 100 MacBook Air laptops for each Warrior Tech and Bengal Tech academies.
And just as a reminder, this is the exact amount that we included in the budget, and we discussed where that amount came from, that over the next 3 to 4 years, our hope is that we add
members of the board. Proposals were solicited to establish a contract with a full-line vendor for supply of cafeteria food items. We received 2 vendors responded, with both providing bid prices and full proposals for service to the cafeterias. We did interview both vendors. The bids were very competitive, and we are recommending at this time that the award for the contract for purchase of cafeteria food supplies be awarded to DVF Food Service out of Danville, Virginia. And it's also recommended that the division be authorized to exercise subsequent renewals in accordance with the terms of the contract. The fiscal impact is estimated to be $1,137,078 over the fiscal year 2016-2017 out of the cafeteria operating budget, food supplies, and food service supplies. Any questions?
Madam Chair, move we approve.
Second. Been moved and seconded to approve the vendor for the food service program as presented by Mrs. Wexler. All in favor? Please raise your right hand.
Just one suggestion, rather bring some samples next year if you can.
Thank you. Mr. Scott, a categorical transfer.
Yes, good evening again. As you remember, of course, you approved the construction costs for Bengal Tech last month, and so it was determined that a categorical transfer is necessary to move funding from our operations budget to our facilities budget, and specifically the building improvements line item, in order to finish covering the construction cost of Bengal Tech. And so if you approve this on it, the request will be forwarded to the Board of Supervisors. So it's recommended that the school board approve a categorical transfer in the amount of $275,000 from the operations category to the facilities category, and then forward that request to the Board of Supervisors for approval.
Any questions for Mr. Scott?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the categorical transfer as indicated by Mr. Scott with Bengal Tech. All in favor of the motion, please raise your right hand. Thank you.
Mr. Scott, any updates on, they're obviously getting started?
They are. Actually, they got started Tuesday. We were just getting the stuff out the door, and they were coming in. It looks like a disaster up there right now. So they have really come in there with a big crew and doing a lot of demolition. Yes.
Maybe we could have got that update. We'll wait for the next update.
Yes.
I saw the media specialist from Bassett today. She said the same thing. So similar.
Okay, Mr. Scott, award a contract to purchase replacement maintenance vehicle.
Yes, ma'am. The facilities maintenance department said need to replace a pickup truck that was involved in an accident this past winter. And of course, the Commonwealth of Virginia has a state contract for purchasing these vehicles. And using the state contract, we received a quote for a 1-ton 4x4 pickup with snowplow accessories in the amount of $43,676.50. So it's recommended that we purchase this pickup to replace the damaged one, pending availability of year-end funds.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve contract to purchase the replacement maintenance vehicle truck as presented by Mr. Scott. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any questions?
Well, I was going to ask, do we have, something like that, do we have insurance? How's it, can we get anything from insurance on a vehicle accident like that?
The one that was involved in an accident, and I can't remember, I don't think it was in this transfer request, maybe it was last month, but you did approve I think it was a little over $6,000 from the truck that was in the accident. We did receive that much from the insurance that goes towards this. Yes, sir.
Just as a reminder to everybody, when we're home with a code 3, we can't get out of our house, the maintenance department is out there scraping all the parking lots, and so we do appreciate all that you and your staff do. Because sometimes we forget that you're out there grading the roads while we're stuck in our house.
The insurance gave us $6,000 for that when we were purchasing it. It sounds like an upgrade.
Oh, yes. Yes, quite a bit.
There were a lot 1410 meteorologist Christina Montori paid a visit to second grade students at Camp Court Elementary this month. Montori engaged students in a variety of ways, including digital maps, green screen technology, and many hands-on experiments demonstrating how weather functions. Heart Heroes. Several families at Council Primary have been affected by heart problems, so participating in Jump Rope for Heart means more than just raising money for CPS students. Staff and students raised $5,542.06 this year, showing that a little heart and compassion for others goes a long way. STEM is a family affair. Drury Mason staff recently hosted a family STEM night. Students and parents were able to participate in hands-on challenge activities focused on the 4 C's. Songs of Our Nation. As a culmination of this year's The Capo music experience, students at GW Carver enjoyed performing what they had learned for their peers. Performers shared songs about America, demonstrated rhythmic accompaniment, and encouraged audience participation by sharing a fun dance song at the end of the show. And we are expanding our partnership with the Capo, and I went to see the performance of Maine Vista. It was powerful to see the students engaged, and we're excited about expanding that program. Dancing Direction. During John Red Smith Elementary's recent Fun Day, 4-H leaders and students dancing, students were given a set of directions to use as they followed the steps of several popular dances. Animal Excursion. Kindergarten and first grade classes at Mount Olivet enjoyed field trips to the Greensboro Science Center in May. Students visited the outdoor zoo and the indoor animal exhibits, in addition to visiting the center's aquarium, where they were able to pet stingrays and see a scuba diver cleaning the shark tank. Surprise Skater. To encourage family participation in school activities, Mrs. Scott, the principal, said she would skate if 75 people attended the May Rich Acres School Skate. Well, they'll teach her to make that deal. Rich Acres students showed their support and were excited to skate with Mrs. Scott. Exciting incentive. 5 Sandville Elementary students recently enjoyed a limo ride to Pizza Hut for lunch, courtesy of Collins McKee Stone Funeral Home, as part of the American Heart Association incentive program at the school. Sandville students raised a total of $2,567 for the American Heart Association. Science Fair of the Future. 4th grade classes at Sandtown Elementary recently developed digital presentations on science experiments they independently performed at home. Each student took notes and made digital pictures of each step of the process as they asked a question, formed a hypothesis, and then scientifically tested it through experimentation. Posters and trifold boards for presenting experiments at the school science fairs may now be a thing of the past, which the parents appreciate, I'm sure. Cooperative Challenge. FC Middle School leadership students recently created, planned, and organized a challenge course as an end-of-the-year activity for their peers. Students, teachers, and businesses in the community pooled resources and talent to build a course that consisted of 8 challenges requiring teamwork, critical thinking, and problem solving. Special thanks to Cunningham Tire, Lester Building Supply, Cassie Logos, Henry County Public Schools Maintenance, and custodians for partnering to make the course a reality. Parade of Preparation. After a school year of quality instruction, collaboration, and student diligence, Laurel Park Middle School students and staff put their creativity on display during their annual SOL parade with a focus on favorite SOLs. The Lancers were supported by the Magna Vista Warrior football team and cheerleaders. Practical application. Bassett High School advanced composition students visited Collinsville Primary in May to read children's stories they had written. The high school students studied examples of Aesop's fables and elements of a fable, and then created their own stories based on the moral truths taught in these fables. Showcasing STEM. 7 elementary and middle school students represented Henry County Public Schools in the first Southern Piedmont Regional Science STEM Showcase at the Virginia why do I keep saying that? I need to stop saying that. The Virginia Museum of Natural History. I'm so used to the Marine Science Museum. The Virginia Museum of Natural History this month. In sharing their exemplary projects with the community during this event, they have taken a step toward preparing for Virginia Junior Academy of Science competition in the future. Field of Dreams. Members of the Bassett High School baseball team recently celebrated the conclusion of another successful season with their buddy baseball players. The Bengals paired with members of the buddy baseball program and spent time helping them to develop their skills on the field. Congratulations to the following at Bassett High School students who earned their Microsoft People's Choice, congratulations to Bassett High's Bree Ferguson, who sculptured Tree of Knowledge, won the People's Choice Award at the first annual Reynolds Homestead Student Art Show. And also congratulations to the following Exabyte Challenge winners, who will be using Apple TVs in the classroom with their students at Mount Olivet, Laura Wright, at Axton Elementary, Jody Hall, and also at Axton Elementary, Rebecca Kirks. You see the students are excited. G.W. Carver's Jeannie Lowry completed phase 2 of the Exabyte Challenge, earning an iPad to use in the classroom with her students. Madam Chair, this concludes my updates for this month. We have other items under superintendent reports. I'll be glad to answer questions from board members if there are any questions.
There are no other questions on the section of the superintendent's report. I would ask if there are matters the board would wish to discuss at this time.
Madam Chairman, I had the honor and privilege of going to the Magna Vista graduation on Friday evening. I guess it was the biggest crowd they've ever had. They ran out of parking, unbelievable. And I went to the Bassett graduation Saturday morning, and I have never seen the students' behavior any better in my lifetime, and I'm getting up there in years. And the crowd and the parents, outstanding behavior on everybody. It was just outstanding. I just couldn't believe it. Just want to make that count.
I heard that from several people.
It was very warm.
Yeah. Anything else?
One other thing, I went to the picnic, I believe it was last Friday. Are you the one that started that, Dr. Cotton?
With staff, with staff help,
When did that start?
We reinstated it, what, 2 or 3 years ago?
Right, about the time I got on the board. And I've been to it several times, and this is the best, biggest one yet. I mean, if you have any plans to abolish this or get rid of it, you and I are going to have a disagreement, okay? This is the outstanding thing that the staff does. You serve our other employees, and they really appreciate it, and the food was excellent. I really enjoyed myself.
That's a great event.
See, Mr. Miller was there. I think he'd agree with me.
I didn't eat as much as you did.
Are there any other concerns or issues from the board? If not, I would like to remind you of some of the meeting dates. There are listed in your agenda on page 42, I believe. And remember, as you think about coming down in office, that summer work hours are now in effect, I think. So they're here a little earlier, a little later, and off on Friday, I guess.
Yes, we start next week, and the hours are 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., and we'll be closed on Friday. But it's important to know that we are working the same amount of hours during those 4 days. You know, sometimes people think that we're just randomly taking off 1 day a week, but we are making up the time the first 4 days. And the other important thing to point out is we've had energy savings as a result of this process, so that's a good thing.
In the conference section, it lists the conference that takes place tomorrow. Are you attending those?
Yes.
You want to walk up and show? And good. That's always a good one. And the one listed in July is sort of a big one for us. So you might want to talk with Melinda a little bit about that if you're interested. We will now be moving into closed session where we will discuss student matters, legal matters, and appointments and separation of personnel and the evaluation of the superintendent. We need a motion to go into closed session.
So moved that we adjourn, not adjourn, but we move to closed session. Purposes stated on the agenda.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to go into closed session. All in favor, please raise your right. Thank you. Agenda carries. to return to regular session.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to return to regular session. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Mrs. Evans.
Whereas the School Board of Henry County has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas Section 2.2-3712.d of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the School Board of Henry County hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered. Mr. Alker?
Yes.
Dr. Ball?
Yes.
Ms. Maddox?
Yes.
Mr. Milner?
Yes.
Dr. Sandbaugh?
Yes.
And Mr. Sayers?
Yes.
We do have some motions coming out of closed session this evening. Mr. Milner, student case 53R.
Madam Chairman, I move the student case number 53R that the expulsion be lifted and students be allowed to attend Magna Vista High School. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the recommendation made by Mr. Milner. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Cases 11 and 12, EXP 16. President Walker.
Madam Chairman, I move in student case number 11, EXP-16, and also 12, EXP-16, that the students be expelled from Henry County Schools for 365 days without access to alternative services.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Case 54R.
Madam Chairman, I move in student case number 54R that the expulsion be lifted and the student be allowed to attend the Center for Community Learning next year.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Dr. Sandbaugh, special placement.
Madam Chairman, I move that we approve the special placement as reported.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the special placement as reported. All in favor, please raise your right hand. And Mr. Sayer, personnel report.
Madam Chairman, I move we approve the personnel report and the personnel report addendum as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the personnel report and the addendum as presented. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Madam Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
It's moved.